What's up? Welcome back. This is your mission, should you choose to accept it. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, I'm taking a second look at Mission Impossible, which, if you just watched what I did with Indiana Jones, means that I'm taking some time to go through the franchise before I review Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I haven't done yet. Yes. So, this is the very first one, directed by Brian De Palma from 1996. This franchise is old. We only made 7 of them. We've made 10 Fast and Furiouses in like less time, but 7 Mission Impossibles. Think about that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. This stars Tom Cruise and a bunch of other people. So if you've never seen it before, part of knowing the cast is the surprise. I'm going to assume that if we're here, that you know what's up. That you're here for a reason. You wanted to hear what I had to say about Mission Impossible. I do know who's in the rest of the cast, but I love what they do here, and we'll talk about it later on. But it does star Tom Cruise as he goes on to other things. Obviously, as Ethan Hunt. And this is sadly oftentimes referred to as being the worst of the franchise, which either this one or the second one, depending on whether or not you want to shit on Brian De Palma or John Woo. It has a lot to do with the fact that this franchise keeps getting better and better. It doesn't actually mean that this film is bad. It actually just means this franchise is getting better and better. I think MI 1 and 2 are kind of the same. Stylistically, they're different because they come from 2 totally different directors. When you look back on this film like I am now, it's probably my 3rd or 4th time seeing it. I've definitely seen it twice. This is my first time watching it with audio description on Paramount Plus. Shout out to Paramount Plus for actually having the cojones to have audio description. I'm hoping for your entire franchise, because I've tried some other franchises and some other streaming services, and for some reason they don't want to put it on the whole franchise. I'm looking at you, Universal. The fuck is you doing with your Fast and Furious franchise and your Jurassic Park franchise? Like, come on now. Get the whole thing, not just the recent ones. Anyway, so Mission Impossible, the first one, is audio described, which was pleasant surprise. It's an action film. It's a spy film. It's a espionage film. It needs audio description. There's a whole sequence, that whole iconic moment where Ethan is being dropped from the ceiling. That scene is like 15 minutes long, and it's him hanging in the air, and there's tension, and we have to pay attention to the guy as he's like rushing off to vomit in the other room, and Ethan, as he's trying not to, he's monitoring the temperature in the room, and we have to know what the temperature of the room is in order to hold the tension. There's so many things about that sequence that wouldn't work if there was no audio description, if it was just silence, if it was just silence and the occasional dialogue break from Ving Rhames as he's trying to get into Ethan's ear. But you wouldn't know about the rat, you wouldn't know about anything. That whole sequence is a perfect example of why audio description is so damn important for blind people. If I showed somebody that sequence without audio description, I'm sure they'd be like, I don't know what this is, I don't know what's happening. Put audio description on and they'd be like, oh my god, I didn't get any of that. It's one of many sequences. Plus him changing disguises, he does in this film. The disguise thing is such a huge part of the Mission Impossible franchise. But like I said at the beginning, I wanted to address the fact that, so again, slightly spoilery if you've never seen this film before, but one of the greatest things that this film did was we didn't have any expectation of where the Mission Impossible franchise would go, or even that it would become a franchise. This was just an adaptation of a TV series, and go, we were set up, we were told that there was a team with Tom Cruise, and actually it looked like a pretty solid team. We had Emilio Estevez was on the team. You have Kristen Scott Thomas, and Jon Voight. So, there's some recognizable faces, but things go wrong, and people die, and big names die. And I think that is what is so surprising. And that has to happen in order for you to believe the ending that comes around, in order for you to suspend your disbelief and question everything. You needed to be able to see people of a comparable level of talent to Jon Voight actually die in the opening scene. So they had to hire people like Emilio Estevez, who had screen credits, and Kristen Scott Thomas, who was on the come up. But this wasn't her. This wasn't her film debut by any means. So you had to have a couple other people in there, so that you would believe, like, oh my God, did they just kill off Jon Voight in the beginning, just like they killed off Emilio Estevez? This is brutal, you know? So that way, when it comes around later on and he steps out and he's like, gotcha, you're actually like, oh my God, you did. I thought, is Emilio behind you? Like, you keep thinking like Emilio's gonna pop out. Like, where you at, Emilio? Coach Bombay, where you at? No. So yeah, it doesn't happen. But yeah, that ending works really well because they were willing to sacrifice familiar actors in the beginning. And I don't know of how many films that were doing this before this, but obviously we've done it since then, where we've had, recognizable names either in TV shows or in movies that have perished early on. And it's shocking. It's always like, oh, I thought that person was going to be the lead. You guessed wrong. That person's not the lead. So, yeah, I think that was really smart. It's a really good film for what it is. I don't give this film enough credit. It ages really well, even though they've got things like cassette tapes. He puts in a cassette tape, and then he smokes on a plane in order to make it look like the smoke from the cassette after it this will destroy itself in 3 seconds or whatever that thing happens after they view the mission file. He smokes on an airplane to try to get the. I'm like, man, this is so 90s. Although I don't remember smoking on airplanes in the 90s, but just the fact that he lit that up and there wasn't like an air marshal that came and like tackled him, it's like out of nowhere, just goes to highlight 90s to me. But yeah, other than that, the technology, they're trying to use advanced technology anyway, so they're using sort of like what at the time they thought technology might be, or trying to come up with technology to wow people, like, oh yeah, we secretly have this kind of technology or this level, we can do this, we can get away with this, we have the ability. So they were already using their imagination, which is why it seems sort of futuristic. And actually works in 1996 instead of seeming like they're running around using their pagers. And you're like, oh God, it's a 90s movie. I'm like, everybody's got a beeper. It's just, they're not using a lot of dead technology in this film. I'm sure the computers look old as hell. I do love the fact that he has a CD disc. That dates the movie a little bit, but not terribly. He could have had a floppy disk. That would have been worse. So he doesn't have a floppy disk though. He does have a CD. I like this film. It's not my favorite Mission Impossible. The Mission Impossible films get better and better. But this film has a great cast. Vanessa Redgrave. Henry Czerny he's great for being that guy who definitely looks like he's playing a villain. He's just that guy. Jon Voight obviously had a career already at the time. This was not a high or midpoint or anything for him. This was just more Jon Voight films at this point. But this film was built for Tom Cruise. I don't know what happened to Emmanuelle Béard, who sort of plays is she a love interest? Can we trust her? What is she to Tom Cruise's Ethan? I love the introduction of Ving Rhames here, and also Jean Reno. I wish Jean Reno was still in the franchise. I wish that had happened. He's such a fantastic actor. Obviously, he got this casting. This is just a couple of years after Leon the Professional. So, I'm sure that's what God is casting in this. There was a little moment in time after The Professional where everybody kind of wanted him in their films. He was in Ronin. Um, I want to say Godzilla. He was in Godzilla, right? Um, yeah, he just was popping up in things, and it was because he was so damn good in The Professional. I feel like I haven't seen Jean Reno in a while. I don't know what's up with him, but yeah, definitely a missed on screen presence. Very talented actor. So if you haven't seen the first Mission Impossible, please do. It's it's actually a lot better than you would think. I think yes, I love where the films are going, and I love that the films, the way that they've become. I haven't seen Dead Reckoning yet, but previously they've been so good where it's like I'm like, can we nominate this for an Oscar or something? I mean, I feel like Fallout was in my top 10 for the year that it came out. So they just keep getting better and better and better, and it's mind-blowing. Um Tom has really gotten the right people together to move the franchise in the right direction, and it's not a franchise that's going down, it's a franchise that's going up, which is so rare. And uh, it's important to note that they did not start at the bottom. So we do need to give some credit where credit is due and check out the original film. It's got a lot of style to it, a lot of class. It's really good for 1996. Also, when you think about the time that it's made, it doesn't feel very dated. Um, and I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed rewatching this film for a third or fourth time. So, excellent audio description, absolutely necessary in so many little ways that you don't even realize, with all the little disguises and the scans and little things happening and the hacking and things appearing on computer screens or device screens or whatever that we have to see. Things that are just totally visual cues that we would be missing otherwise. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna give Mission Impossible, Brian De Palma's Mission Impossible, a B plus. I actually may like this film more now. I actually think I may somehow this film may be growing on me. Um, so I know that the franchise grows, and we'll see how I still feel about Mission Impossible 2. So, but some really good work here. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I do have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on X Threads or Instagram at Mac the Movie Guy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to theadna.org. That's the adna.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me today. I'm going to keep watching these, and I'll see you guys on the other side.